Hi, it's Tian. So, for this first lecture on purpose and ways to help you find your purpose, I would like to talk about the framework called Purusharthas, which, in my eyes, is like a Hindu version of Ikigai. But having said that, I don't know either system super well, so I could be completely bastardizing both. So, forgive me if I am. Similar to Ikigai, it's made up of four sections. You have Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Dharma is like your purpose. Artha is like activities you do to make money and survive materially. Kama is like things you enjoy and your passions. And so far, you would probably recognize this is very similar to Ikigai. The Purusharthas has a fourth section, which is called Moksha. And this is like spiritual liberation. But essentially, the way I see it is like moksha is activities that you do to cleanse yourself and to reconnect back to yourself so that you can do everything else better. Beginning with Dharma, like I said, this is your purpose, omae no shime, your mission, your personal legend, your calling, whatever you want to call it, right? This is also like your service to the world, like the things you do in this world, your talents that came from the divine into you, that you're here to express authentically through you into this world. And if you do so with integrity, then you are, in my eyes, fulfilling your purpose and doing service to the world. You don't have to overtly try and save the world or anything. Like if you can just genuinely express your essence, your divine essence out into the world, then just by the fact you're being authentic about it, you are of service. And then you have Artha, which is activities to make money, right, and have material success, because you need a roof over your heads, you need money to pay for food and stuff like that, right? Things you need to do to survive and be healthy in a material sense in order to support your Dharma. Or you can say this is like the business side of the art. Or maybe you made a really good YouTube video, but the title is really bad and the thumbnail is terrible. So then no one sees it, right? But then Arta would come in and figure out like the business side or logistical side, right? The copywriting marketing side. Artha is kind of like the business side of knowing how to ground your art and your magic so that it can actually be received by the world. And then you have Kama, which is like the fun things that you want to do with your life, like the sensorial pleasures, the inner child activities. Basically, things you genuinely like to do, not because it's your purpose or it's your job, but you like doing it because it just feels good and there's no ulterior motive. Whatever crazy kinky shit you're into, hey, it's all there. Even if it is like jumping out of a plane with your boy Pablo in Colombia while doing lines of coke off hookers' titties in midair, like that's, you do you. And then finally, you have moksha, which is the most interesting part, I would say, about the Purusharthas, because it's quite unique. And this, I would say, would be, yeah, like any activity that helps you connect back to yourself, your body, your soul, your intuition, whether it's like meditation, yoga, exercise, breath work, chanting, journaling, somatic exercises, healing in general, trauma release, psychedelics, or, I don't know, going for a walk in nature, connecting with your loved ones. Like, I think anything that really helps bring yourself back into you, right? I would consider that to be a moksha activity. If you do a job that you hate for a really long time and you've had trauma from the past and all of these things that a human being may go through in their life, you're likely not operating from 100% you because you have so much emotional baggage and trauma that you haven't processed. You won't be able to access your intuition and your dharma and your calling, shall we say, if you don't clear it. And I would say moksha will be the activities in which you do the healing to purify yourself so that the divinity can come through you. Or another way you can look at it is this is like activities that sharpen the acts of your being, right? Or cleans out the oil of your being so you can function better to do everything else. I would say also like using Swords Dance in Pokemon, where it's like you do these things as a multiplier, so everything else you do becomes better. Dharma can be Artha and Karma at the same time. Your purpose can pay your bills and be very enjoyable and make you feel good and love life, right? Yeah, like how a singer may feel joy from singing, gets paid for her music, and is service to the world because her music is so soothing and liberating and so healing. I would say Aurora fits really well into this example, and I really love her as a person. I think she's one of the best people on earth. It could even go into moksha because singing itself can be very spiritually cleansing. if you're singing from a really real place, which I feel like she is, like I'd imagine every time she sings, she feels really good, not just emotionally, but like spiritually, and she connects back to herself, right? So, it's like beautiful, doing four things in one, and like excellent human being, like A plus. I love you. Please keep serving your love into this world. And I think karma is really important in life as well. Like sometimes people take life too seriously, right? And they go into the corporate world 9 to 5. And sure, they make money, but then in their free time after work, they're so burnt out. All they do is Netflix or escapism to numb themselves of the dreadful emptiness of their lives. And they might not even know what their karma is, like what really brings them joy anymore, because all they know is how to escape the bad feelings. But it's like, let's say they were able to find a karma or a hobby, right? They do after the 9 to 5, and they turn that hobby into a business, right? Or they're able to monetize a hobby somehow without corroding it. Then that would also become Artha. And then if that hobby really was of service and they were doing it with integrity, then it would also become Dharma. I think that's a really good win-win-win. Like rather than trying to be so serious about finding your purpose or whatever, it's like if you can actually just start with what you genuinely enjoy in your life and do as many of those things as you can and see if any of those things you would consider taking to like a business monetary level, or even don't even worry about the money. Like if you can just do it to the maximum, to a level of mastery, I think eventually those opportunities will come and find you. It's like people that talk about anime on TikTok, right? And then they just like anime because they're a huge weeb, right? But then because they're so passionate about it, they get so many followers and views, now they get paid just to make videos about anime, right? So I think karma is a really good place to always start, to reconnect back to your inner child, where the magic and the life is. But yeah, like I said, you can't find that if your entire system, your entire nervous system, you can say, is like in fight and flight mode all the time. It's in survival mode and it's unregulated, right? You can't have play because you're just constantly surviving. So then when you're in that state, you must do moksha activity, shall we say, to heal your nervous system and bring you back into balance and things like that. And once you're actually calm enough and you feel safe enough, then the natural impulses you get towards joy and purpose will come, and then you can do it. But on a practical, everyday level, I would say the main focus is Dharma, as like the thing you aim towards in your life. And then everything else, Artha, Kama, Moksha is supporting that. But if we were to take it to a higher level, I would say Moksha is ultimately always the goal. All you have is this moment, right? And if you can feel completely one with the universe and present moment to moment and feel really good, and you're fully yourself and you're fully expressive and in integrity, then it's like you're literally doing the best thing that you can possibly do as consciousness manifested in physical reality, right? As God in the flesh of a human being. Then it doesn't matter what you do. Everything you do is God. Everything you do is divine. You're coated in divine essence, and everything you touch turns to gold. But then if I tell someone to just go towards that blissful state of like enlightenment or whatever, and everlasting bliss and peace, it might be a little bit too vague and difficult. So I think on a more practical, grounded sense for the everyday folk, or for most people, shall we say, it would just be to focus on your Dharma. Find something meaningful to do in your life that can contribute and serve the world in a way that fulfills you. I've recently heard this story about a kid that was stung by a lot of bees, but because he imagined himself to be Vegeta, his all-time favorite hero from Dragon Ball Z, he was able to channel his strength and get through it, and then he was fine. And then, you see his photo having covered in bee stings, but he's like, like fucking solid, And I feel like that's the power of the mind in a very wholesome way. So I think if we can use our mind, for the sake of aiming towards a purpose, that is gold. You are on a vector to the heavens and becoming the Ubermensch and everything you can be and helping the world and being amazing. So that's the Purusharthas. Hope that was helpful. As a part of this whole helping the world find purpose mission, the purpose of finding purpose, I'm opening up my coaching calls again. So if anyone wants me to help you directly by having a talk in terms of trying to uncover what your purpose could be, and then helping you find some practical steps to do it, then you can book a call with me, and there will be a link in my channel somewhere.